Because I think it's a lot easier to drive. Regional.
The Chamber meeting of the Kennedy Library Advisory Board, and I'm calling this meeting to order. And the first thing on the agenda is the approval of the minutes, which Marissa sent out. And I assume everybody had a chance to read them.
2 different sets of minutes.
Right, first is our meeting minutes and then is the joint meeting minutes. So let's talk about our meeting minutes first.
I move we accept the minutes as written.
Was there any discussion about them? Everyone second it?
I'll second.
Rick will second. Everybody in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, so the second set of minutes is the joint board meeting minutes. I read them all. Any comments on them? Anybody want to make a move that we approve them?
I move we
I'll second. Again?
Everybody in favor say aye. Aye. So those minutes are approved. Thank you everybody for that. Public comment, we have no public and I don't think there's anybody online, so we don't have to worry about that. So next, Scott, you're up.
Thank you. So we have a work session from 6 to 7. We are going to talk about the new transportation system plan update. We can't wait. Then we have a proclamation of prisoners of war and missing in action. We have 2 consent agenda, the minutes. We have 1 resolution that we need to talk about, and then we are voting on the LLC League of Oregon Cities Legislative Priorities ballot. And I think we're going to get an update on the city attorney recruitment.
Oh, good.
So,
Great, thanks. Anybody have any questions for Scott?
Dog park?
it's on that, last meeting we were having that update on section J. Remember I told you about that? That's part in that section J. The road going out past Jarbo.
Okay.
Yep.
That's been approved.
No, but there's a plan. They just, when we get to that point, yeah, they're gonna try and work it in with that road.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. To be determined.
To be,
Thank you.
but it is on the map, yes.
Great, thank you, Scott. Okay, I'm next. So I sent out my notes, so I'm gonna let Jennifer comment on what's going on at the school. I have not had any feedback from the Foundation of Friends of the Kiwanis on the updated How Do I page. I will reach out to everybody next week. And then I also have a couple of other comments, questions. Marissa, one time I asked a question, what will it take for us to be able to donate ebooks to the library? Because I was told that they're in a different format, so they can't be donated. What will we have to do to pursue that? Because it seems like if you buy a book, I buy a book, I can give it to Linda. If I buy an ebook, why can't I give it to Linda?
So all of our digital materials are purchased through our consortium. So as far as I know, we would have, all of the directors would have to vote on the libraries allowing that, but I honestly don't even know what that would mean. So
one of the legal things about it is that if I buy an ebook, I buy 1 copy. So I can give it to Lois, but I can't give it to you and have.
yeah, right, like I don't think it would ever work to donate a copy of something because when we purchase e-materials, we're purchasing a license for it.
Yes.
And so it's not like we purchase one license for a book and then we can lend it out to however many people. We purchase a license, that's one, so if we want another copy of it to circulate at the same time, that's another copy, they're very expensive. And then each license we only have for a period of time. Generally, it's about 2 years. Could be less time if it's a brand new book. So I've had people ask me like how to donate money, but this is probably one of the last priorities on the director's list right now of what to talk about. But I mean, I can certainly bring it up at our next meeting on Thursday.
It just seems like that if you had a demand for an ebook, rather than buying another license, if I had that book and I could give it to the library, donate it to the library, then that's one less thing that you have to buy.
Part of the problem is that we pay more for ebooks than you would, period. Just because we're a library and we're lending them out, each of the licenses. So I think legally there'd be a lot of weirdness there.
It would be interesting to find somebody who knows about the legality side of things.
I will ask as many contacts as I can who may know something about it.
It's no different than the problem with electronic textbooks. You have exactly the same problem. You can't.
It's not like you buy one and then that's it, everyone can have
It's
it
not.
on.
It's like
You can't.
if we wanted to show a movie in the park and we owned one DVD and we wanted to show it, we would be breaking all kinds of, is it copyright, really? I don't know what the word is, but it is, it has to do with licensing and the methods that we use them.
But this is the question, if you have one ebook, you could only lend it out
To one person
At a time.
at a time.
Yes, but you have to remember that if you guys were donating books, what you would pay for that actual ebook is going to be much less than what we would pay. So because of that difference in pricing, I don't even know if that's possible.
Even, Lois, even if you bought the ebook through Amazon, you have to go through Amazon in essence it has to be somebody who also has an account with Amazon that you loan the book to. So I mean,
Yeah, it just seems like it's such
it
a.
has to do with who owns the electronic.
I could send you a million articles talking about the price gouging that these places are really. Yeah, it's been a big issue, but the problem is like Overdrive and all these other places, they know that we need it, they know that there's a demand, so I don't know if the prices are gonna go down anytime soon. If you ever talk to any of these companies, they'll basically just say that, you know, they're barely making any money off of it because they have to give all the money to the publisher, which,
Yeah.
And they're paying it all to the authors too.
yeah, totally,
And other magical thoughts.
yeah. The good news is because this is the beginning of the conversation on ebooks, because they, you know, kind of got really big and popular during COVID, these are all things that people are talking about. I don't anticipate there being a solution for a while, especially until they can get everyone at a table and actually work to compromise.
Yes, it just seems like if I buy a brand new book and I read it real fast and I bring it in, it can go in the collection and it can be checked out one at a time. And I don't see why ebooks should be any different. They're both.
I think it would get messy because, like, let's say, for example, you bought a brand new ebook and then you wanted to loan it to the library. One, they would end up charging us more because you have your rate, we have our rate, which is gonna be different. And then two, even if they were allowed, like you were allowed to loan it, you'd only be able to loan it to one person maybe.
So you really aren't buying it. So when they say you buy a book, you're not buying it. You know, that's where they've gotten themselves, I think, into a bit of trouble because to buy something means you own it, right? So when you buy a book on Amazon, it means I own it.
A physical book.
Think of it as going into a hamburger shop and buying a hamburger and deciding that you don't want it and giving it to your friend. It can only be eaten once. And it's the same kind of thing. You can't, you don't really own that copy. You own the use of it for yourself.
Yeah, I think that's something that needs to be pushed on in the next 5 to 10 years, you know. I realize it's long-term, but it's silly.
This conversation it's not gonna stop as far as libraries go, because it's just ridiculous how much money we're paying for these licenses, but there's demand for it, so we're trying to make it work.
So, the next question I have for you is there an update on when the book page will be returned to the library?
No, I just started. This is so weird. Every time I say something or I'm about to say someone's name, they're right there. I was just gonna say, I'm just ready to talk about it with Eileen. So just know it's on the back burner, but at the front.
Okay. Okay. And then I'm just gonna switch down to the Friends of the Library, because I was able to get some information from them. Their big sale at Swan Dahlia's, made almost $200 more than they did last year. So last year they made $505, this year they made $690. Patty Kaplan, who is the manager of the bookstore, is working with the guy who's gonna run the beer library down in the old library. And they're going to have a place where they sell books from the bookstore, so. Patty's in
They made like, I have a picture, I might even be able to find, they made like these large scale shelving units in there, and they wanted really to kind of pay homage to the library you used to be there, so let me see if I can find the picture. There's some mock-ups here.
And the third thing about from the Friends is there's no decision yet on whether or not there's going to be a Christmas to our homes. So those are the 3 updates I was able to get right before our meeting started. So that's all I have. Is anybody have any questions for me? Like I said, I'm gonna let Jennifer do the talk about the students and campaign.
I did find a picture, so I
Okay.
can get this on here. So I'm not even on the right one. Hold on one second. Okay, it's not working. I'll show you later.
Okay, sounds good.
I'll show you later.
So Jennifer, you're up next.
So last week, Thursday, Lois and I went to the high school, we met with the librarian, Courtney Tamimi. She's wonderful and local and passionate about our project. She has some applications and descriptions, and we put up a slide for the students to see. Yesterday was the first of 3 days of their club fair, and I finally connected with the advisory teacher and was able to get there today. And I made some good connections, so I talked to the Key Club teacher, the FBLA teacher, the athletic director, one of the vice principals, the principal, again, the librarian, and I think Chris Bangs. And Chris knows exactly what the student would do and has a full load of sophomores in his government classes. And he's going to try and direct them down to the library. I gave him a note and he's going to circle back and make sure he pays attention to the recruitment, and it was great, and I am going again tomorrow. I had 3 students stop by the table, 2 of which were seniors and exchange students, and absolutely not for us, but they were delightful to talk to. And the 3rd girl rolled her eyes when I said library, so she was not for us. Courtney, though, the librarian, did say that she, one student had picked up an application so far, which was a senior, which was not ideal, but, you know, the hunt goes on, and I think the exposure's getting out there and trying to really hit up personally the leadership teachers and the people who could be paying attention to students that might fit what we're looking for.
So, by the time the weekend started, we didn't know exactly what was gonna happen, but on Sunday, I still sat down and I sent an email to all the students who applied, because they all provided their email address. I haven't heard, basically saying, we we changed the process a little bit, you're welcome to apply again, and some of the reasons for it, and, that we would be either at the club fair, or we'd have a table at the club fair, but they could definitely reach out to, Ms. Meady and, get the other application. I have not heard back from anyone yet, but I felt it was important, since we were advertising this, to reach out to everybody. I had to leave it a little bit squishy because we weren't certain if we were going to have a table or not. We hadn't heard back from the advisor. But I have reached out to every single person.
You're asking people who already applied to reapply?
Yes, because we changed, so because the new form has a parental authority, So, and I thought it was important that, and to say we're working through the high school now, and I want them to go through the high school, I want them to meet this community and stuff like that. So the interesting part is that there was a lady there who works half-time in the library, half-time someplace else in the high school. She's the same lady who teaches swimming lessons at the club in the summertime, so I know her from that. And we had to figure out that, oh, this person looks different and not in bathing suit, but that part was kind of interesting. And then, before we get done today, I do want to talk about, and this is in the other discussion, figuring out times when we could tell people we would meet to interview with them. So, okay, that's all I have. Jennifer, anything else? Anybody have any
I
questions?
just have, just for my own clarification, the job fair was, I think we guessed it would be in October, but it wasn't October, it was earlier than you thought.
I do believe I got bad information from the
Yeah.
counseling secretary,
That's
because
good,
she
that's
told
good
me
news,
October,
yeah.
and then we met on Thursday,
Wednesday.
Wednesday, we met on Wednesday, you
Yeah.
brought us the club fair, and she's like,
I
it's
want to
on Monday.
volunteer to help you relieve the
It
table.
I didn't know,
Yeah.
until 1 o'clock on Monday afternoon that I was welcome at noon on Monday, so I missed Monday.
Things happen.
Well,
That, when I was trying this, you had 24 hours to respond to people, but I took like 5 days.
yeah.
That's good. It's
But we
good.
made it
It's
today.
moved up,
And I feel like there were some very good connections made today, and it's only gonna get better if we put this process in place where we're at the club fairs every year, and I do think that the outgoing student could be instrumental in helping us find a new student.
And just a brief aside, I worked with Chris years ago on the voter registration drive for seniors, and he just jumped in there and got his mandatory, he put down there at the desk, took his position in the school for like 3 days in a row during lunchtime. And he just followed up
Chris Banks,
Chris Banks.
yeah, he,
It was like his second year, but he had just taken over the government classes from Dennis Burke.
he's
So,
probably gonna help us.
yeah, so it's
He
just,
sat here, he knows how to describe it.
Yeah.
so I think it's good. Thanks for all your help. Yeah. Wow.
This was what really helps, having somebody who has deep ties in the community, because Jennifer knows as much people in high school. When I got there before her, and it was like, she has second track, and I got lucky. And they were like, oh, Jennifer, oh yeah, Jennifer, we know Jennifer, so.
Yeah.
Just waiting for Jennifer, it's like, oh, you're okay.
Our connection.
And it really does help, and Jennifer has been very tenacious,
Good.
and I appreciate the tenacity. Any other questions for Jennifer? Okay, LDAC. Nothing, no meetings, okay. Marissa, you're on.
Okay. So this is gonna be shared tomorrow night from Scott, but I'm gonna give you all the information. So, our teen intern Rayleigh completed her internship. I just finished the State Library of Oregon report that I had to, fill out about her internship. And we are very much hoping to get that, grant funding again next year so we can bring on another teen intern. Since it went really well and we enjoyed the process, and I know she did too. Let's see, we repainted the white arrows in the alleyway behind the library because we had an enormous amount of people going the wrong way very quickly only like almost hitting patrons and staff for like several days in a row when they had shut down one of the
Yeah,
offshoots to get onto 99.
yeah.
So we're very grateful that they did that. We actually called them and they did it that day because they were already painting something else throughout the city, so it worked out.
Has there been any new movement on physical signage to the alley, or are we just relying on?
So there are signs back there that say wrong way, there's 2 of them, but when I did a walkthrough last week, they were kind of hidden for one. And 2, I think there's other signs that we could put out there that might scare people a little bit more, so I'm gonna be working with Public Works on that.
Parking lot that would send people down there the correct way. The other side, where the movie theater is.
Mhm.
The initial, because it doesn't make any sense to come in a little short entrance, because then you almost have to back up or whatever, there's a short
And
entrance.
people do,
And that's not good.
yeah,
But I asked about this before your tenure.
Yeah.
And nothing seemed to move forward. I don't know whether it has to involve the city as well as the movie theater, whoever runs the parking lot, whoever's responsible for the parking lot. But I just thought for especially new people in town, we're getting so many new people that,
Tell me exactly where you're talking
It's not a
about.
convenient place. You don't expect to have, a drop off all the way around the building.
Basically on that building, but on the parking lot end,
Yeah.
at kind of a,
To send them down the alley, something
Okay.
to send them down the alley, not to tell them you screwed up. You're going the wrong way.
Yeah,
library Dropbox,
okay.
and a big arrow.
I don't know who's in charge of that area, but if anyone knows anything about me, I try to get stuff done, so.
Yeah.
I will have a conversation about it. I might email you just to give me more
Yeah.
input, so I know exactly what to
I
say.
mean, kind of a dual sign, one coming off of the road, what is that street? What's the name of that street? Third, and one from here.
It'd be nice, yeah, if there were a sign that was readable from a car in front of the library, because by the time you park your car and get out to read the sign on the door,
Yeah.
it's too late.
Sandwich board.
Yeah, a sandwich board or anything,
We
yeah,
have a
sandwich
lot
board
of-
would do it.
We have access to sandwich boards, thanks to
Yeah.
Public Works. Okay,
Yeah.
alright, I'll talk to them. This is something we can bring to the safety committee with the city as
Yeah,
well.
that's a good point. Thank you.
Okay, let's see, what else? We've got a lot of new adult programs starting this month, including Adult Craft Night, Bring Your Own Book Club, and a new writing group. We've also got a financial series that I believe, starts tomorrow. Tomorrow's about investing, and it's for beginners. We have a watercolor class on Saturday and then a guide to garlic planting next week. The young teen and parent craft moved to a different time. It used to start at 4 o'clock. It's now starting at 5 o'clock, and it is a drop-in, so people don't have to come in at 5 o'clock. They can come in whenever between 5 and 6:30. I put some of the summer reading stats here for you, partially because we had a lot more signups than normal, and that's because Philip actually went to several schools and handed out logs to every child. But these numbers are actually pretty on par with what we normally see, except for adults saw 3 times as many finishers. And we think that's partially because instead of just having the bingo sheet for them, we also had a regular reading log for them, 20 minutes a day, 20 days. And people could fill out several logs, which they did. And then we did also offer a STEAM log for the first time as well. So overall, the program went really well, and summer reading is usually funded by a State Library of Oregon grant called the Ready to Read grant, and then also the Friends of the Library, of course, because they are awesome. Let's see, put some other programming stats on there. We have kind of seen a huge jump in a lot of our numbers, which is why I created that fiscal year comparison.
I like
Wire there. I love pulling that data together because it shocks me every time. But there's a couple things that I did want to just point out. We normally see somewhere between like 7 and 8,000 visitors a month, sometimes a little bit more. So if you look at total visitors between the fiscal years, that was like an extra month of visitors that came in. Room reservations went up, items added to the collection went up, and that's partially because our staff have been very careful to spend money on the things that this community wants and needs. And then we also do add a lot of the donations that go to the Friends Bookstore if they're in good condition. Holds filled went down, which makes a lot of sense because our physical checkouts went up. We've just seen a lot more people in the library, so they're still putting things on hold, but they're also just taking a lot of stuff home that they find that day. Digital checkouts, I'm sure you've seen 35,000 to 45,000. And this is kind of the main point here that I wanted to make, was that not only are we not seeing less physical checkouts, we're seeing more, a lot more, and we're also seeing more digital checkouts. So that is a very interesting issue that we're trying to address with the directors group right now, and I'll let you know what comes of that. Items checked in was almost exactly the same, which I thought was hilarious. We made a lot of new cards. If you talk to any staff member, we also noticed a lot of people who used to have cards who came in and had been erased from the system and got new cards, which is always good. And then we answered more reference questions. And then if you see those programming numbers below, that was really exciting. We did more children's events. We saw about twice the amount of participants, more than that actually. We did more teen events. We saw about twice the increase in those participants. And then adults, this was something that was really important to Melissa, our current adult programmer. She started doing more events, and then she also had about double participation. So programming has been going really well. Everything in general has been going really well, but I wanted you guys to see that and share it along with everybody to show everyone that the library is not dead. We still get those comments sometimes. I can't believe you guys are still open. And then, yeah, it never gets old. And then there's just one more thing that I wanted to bring up here, and I know my staff are likely not going to listen to this recording, so I can say it. One thing that's really important to Amber and I is to, and some of you might already know this because I've sent some emails out, is to really show our staff how much we appreciate what they do. And so we've been trying to nominate them for different awards. The award season just started. I recently submitted 3 applications and I'm working on a 4th. I'm trying to find something for everyone that I can put them up for and nominate. But I just wanted to let you know, and I'd be happy to send this via email. There's several different awards where it doesn't have to be a library staff member that can put these people up. You guys can do it. There's even one award through Library Journal called Movers and Shakers. And that doesn't just include library staff, that includes vendors, publishers, coders, non-degreed library workers, really anyone that you know of that is doing really good work and helping out the library field. So I will send this out to everybody if you guys are interested. But it's something nice that I know I've never had bosses in the past who put people up for awards. I know they're busy enough, but I've been trying to carve out time in my schedule to show everyone how much I appreciate them. And the best part is once they actually announce the winners, they end up sending the application to all the nominees, so they get to see all the fun stuff we wrote about them. So that's what I'm working on now. It's been really fun and also difficult at the same time to remember all of the different examples that they want you to include of why people are so great, because there's so many things to choose from. But that is what is going on in the library. And last update, the teen mural, it's being printed right now. So it's gonna be up very soon, probably the next couple weeks, but that's gonna be so exciting. And I can tell you, Karen is just so happy to be done with that almost 7-year project.
Yes.
It started when I got there and then didn't go anywhere. And so I said, Karen, I will make it happen. So I did, along with the help of many other people, of course. So that's what's going on here. Do you guys have any questions?
Thank you for the picture, this is really awesome.
Oh, there's another one too, I'll show you. You can't really see it as good as that one, but I did kind of like show where this one was. How come every time I want to pull this up, it doesn't? So it's right here.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like right where all the seating is, so you can see it. It's protected, obviously, because it's inside. And it's just a really good location, and it's really nice that they want to support the library. So all of the Friends, obviously, books that they sell there are the money's gonna go back to the library and programming. So very, very nice of them. They reached out to us, by the way. We did not reach out to them, so it meant a lot that they wanted to do right by us.
Do they have a tentative opening date?
The tentative opening date was August, so.
We've been told 10 days.
Yeah.
It started in July, and I said, there is no way.
That is what I said.
It won't be ready in October. So they missed
It'll
the
be,
good season.
But when it's ready, it'll be awesome.
For our movies, we can go down there.
Yeah.
There's covers.
maybe they'll find a way to heat beer. So I feel like a winter drink.
Okay, so the discussion items, the joint meeting and the strategic plan.
Yeah, so just real quick, I gave you 2 different documents, and there's also one going around. I made this little handy handout. It's something that a lot of people have been asking about. What's the difference between all the groups? And so I just wanted you guys to look over it. If there's anything you wanted me to add or take out, I can do that. And then this is likely just gonna be something we have on hand to help people understand who supports the library and how they do that. And then I did give you guys each a copy of the directory, and I have a master one floating around. So if you can actually just check to make sure your information on there is correct, and then add any information you want added. That directory is not going to go to anyone except for who is on that piece of paper, maybe some other library staff if they need it. But it's not going to be going out to anyone else. It's not going to be in the minutes of this meeting, nothing like that. So if you don't want to share information, just put that on there. That's totally fine. And then I just wanted to talk a little bit about how you guys thought the joint meeting went. So I got some really interesting comments from some people that were not awesome. Nobody. Yes, your face is how I felt when I heard as well.
I thought it went really well.
I did too, so I was really shocked to hear that.
What's this?
Territorial.
There was a little bit of that. Some people were upset about the fact that it looked like the foundation had a whole lot of money that they're just not spending, and that's not the reality. And then there was also just a lot of comments on people not understanding why we were there and what the point of the meeting was, which was also surprising to me because it was to connect. Yeah.
Did you have a discussion during that meeting where we talked about like changing their time so that was that maybe not a bothersome topic?
I mean, the comments that I feel like we got when we were talking about having people possibly join other boards or whatever, I mean, the point of that was to tell people that there are board openings everywhere except here right now, which is great. There's board openings, and if you want, a chance to actually have a say in what the foundation spends their money on, like get on the board. But it seemed like nobody wanted to, attend any extra meetings, which is fine. I totally understand that. It was really, the whole entire meeting was just meant to be education. It was to connect, was to learn what everyone does, what problems they're facing, and then go from there. And the majority of the people I heard from said it went well, but there were a few other people that their comments honestly hurt my feelings, so. And you can't hurt my feelings very easily.
So, I mean, I really hate to say it, but there's always somebody who's going to do sour grapes,
Yes.
which is really unfortunate.
I was told that they were not happy that we were up here, they were down there.
And we actually said the same thing.
And I said, it got put together most work sessions were all down there. So I said, just, if that's all you have to worry about, it, we weren't looking down on you, we didn't throw stuff down
Well,
there.
they don't have the same requirements that we have in terms of documenting everything about the meeting, that.
I
They
mean,
take minutes, but their minutes are,
Yeah,
And at this point too, like, I wanted to learn from this. I absolutely would not have us up here again the second time. But again, this was the first meeting. I was trying to do the best that I could do. And in the end,
You did.
it was a good start,
follow our
regardless.
meeting.
Yeah.
It did.
That's why it just worked out.
You can't please everyone.
Yeah,
You just can't.
yeah.
There's going to always be sour grapes. The point is, it was a great start. And I think that the majority of people felt it was a great start.
I think we could try another get together, maybe even say, maybe we'll have an evening meeting, an evening get together. Maybe once a quarter, and have it be more social and less structured.
We all have a common friend with the library.
Yes, we do, we have a common goal.
Wait till the beer library opens and we'll down and have a beer there.
Everybody will be happy there.
Were there other, just because so, okay, aside from the seating arrangements, was there anything else that was like,
Well, there's
I mean, yeah.
was there any other,
some complaint.
feedback that was,
That I could
I'm
do
sorry.
something with?
that was useful?
Yeah.
As opposed to just emotional, like, was there, problems we can solve? Or things,
No, I mean,
sorry. that's a totally
I
different-
like to hear comments, I wanna do things better, but yeah, it was a lot about the fact that we were up here, which I understand, and then there were a few comments, like I said earlier, about people not understanding the purpose of the meeting, or why we were there, or what they were supposed to talk about. I mean, there was an agenda, everyone shared what they were supposed to share, and we only had an hour. So I mean, I thought it went pretty well considering what the point of the meeting was. But beyond that, there was nothing else tangible that I could actually have a solution for and fix the next time.
Okay.
The only thing I think that I could take from the comments was that I don't know if I would have a joint meeting with everybody very often. Maybe like a couple people from every board, or maybe lab and one representative each. It seemed like there were a couple different people who thought it was a waste of time, which is kind of crazy to me, but at the same time, everyone has their own opinion, so I think what hurt my feelings the most was how much time I actually had to spend coordinating schedules and getting it together and all of that. But I mean, in the end, I think we got what we wanted out of it. I know a lot of other people did. So next time, I think honestly, I would just make it smaller.
Yeah, there's a lot of history going on there too,
Yeah, which part of
which has nothing to do with you.
Yeah,
so
oh yeah.
that
You
sounds
just
like-
happen to be the closest target,
Yeah.
that's all.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah, I know. I've had to reestablish some relationships with some people and groups that may have had issues with us in the past at some point, but I think it's going really well. But yeah, I always have an issue with comments not coming, like negative comments not coming with a solution or something else we can do. So I've been trying to figure out what we can do based on those comments, but I don't think that there's a lot besides what
no, it's not worth it.
Well, yeah, because there's the, actionable items, and then there's people just venting emotional response, and so then you have to sort of sift through.
Just from the educational side, just briefly, I was impressed, I was glad that you mentioned how the donation policy works. And there was no pushback at all. Either any of the two groups is done professionally, explained it legally, whatever the parameters were.
Yeah.
And I thought that somebody would come up and say, well, what about this? What about, I was still waiting for, how do we handle this type of thing?
Yeah.
And, whether, I don't know if they paid attention or not, but, it's out there and it's recorded and got minutes on it. So, and it's in policy now. So, that was my favorite part of the education side, is at least something out there that relates to all three groups.
And really, honestly, in the future, when we do have another joint meeting, one of the things I think I've realized the longer I've been in this position is how little people know about the library district. So I'm thinking like, even if we all got together at some point and I just gave a little presentation on the library district and what it means and kind of what our hope is for the future, that might be helpful. But that's one of the important pieces of the new strategic plan, is just educating people on all of the stuff that they don't know about libraries and support boards and all that good stuff, because this information is not meant to be gate kept. Is that even a word? Gate kept by me. I want everyone to know, especially because at some point, we're all gonna need to get on the same page and figure out what to do about a new tax district, so. Yeah.
Sorry that you had to navigate through that, that's.
The good news is I feel like we have a lot of people that care. That is what I did realize, is people care a lot about this library. I do just wish that people would be willing to put the past aside, because this is a different staff group. We're going in a completely different direction and we're gonna need everyone's support. And if you have something constructive to say, I am all ears, but if it's not constructive, it's just gonna hurt. But anyway, the sting is not there anymore. I feel good about things. I feel good about, you know, the majority of those that I work with really closely, and I do know that everyone cares. So if it didn't come out that way, I can understand, but I do want everyone to move forward, to not hold everything to the past, because a lot of people who work here don't even know the names that people are saying.
Well, and they also don't know the history of the library failures and all that kind of stuff. And so it's just like, you know, I mean, when I first got here 10 years ago, I mean, I heard a lot about, well, this happened in the past, this happened, and people are so angry about it. It's kind of like, well, you know, I wasn't here, I don't know what happened, and I'm not angry about it because I wasn't here, I don't know what happened. You know, just taking, you know, second information and spinning it into negativity that impacts a lot of people doesn't move things forward.
No, we can talk about the past, we can go back there sometimes, but we need to keep our eyes on the future. And there's a lot of problems in the past that we can fix with the new tax district, which is why we're trying to pool all our sources to that, so.
Okay, you wanna go on to the strategic initiative?
Yeah, so me and this library staff spend a large amount of time working on this, based on everyone's feedback over the past year, honestly. We've talked to many different community stakeholder groups. We obviously did our library open house and online survey last year. And so based on all of that, and then all of your comments, this is, I'm hoping, the final-ish version of the strategic plan from 2024 to 2027. So I just wanted to briefly go through it. There's a new mission and vision statement, and that's partially because our library staff looked at the mission and vision statements that are currently online, and they just don't represent what we're doing now and what we want to do. So every single staff person had a say in these statements. And so I wanted you guys to look at those and let me know how you feel about those. Obviously, we are still in the we can change anything part of this plan. And then we broke down the actual strategic plan into 3 priorities. 1, advance community education and outreach. 2, build community through quality programming and services. And 3, improve departmental and organizational health and stability. All of these pictures are pictures that have been taken probably, honestly, fairly recently in the past couple of years. I made sure to get every single staff member in a picture somewhere, just so everyone would know, you know, who was here when we did the strategic plan. And then the very last page is something that I also wanted to make sure we got in there, but it's the goals addressed, city council goals addressed with a strategic plan, and then the link strategic and tactical plan goals that we address. And that's partially because I don't want me or any of the rest of the staff to be working on many different plans and goals and objectives over the next couple years, so I try to kind of mold them together. So this is the document that more or less is complete. I'm still very much open to any edits that you guys have, anything you'd wanna change. But the most important part of the strategic plan is making sure that it's something that we can complete in the next several years. The last part of this is that October 23rd, we are going to be presenting this at the city council meeting. And by we, I mean me and probably Lois and anyone else who wants to be there. There's gonna also be a plan as to how we get this done at that meeting. We have about 20 minutes to do it, to present everything. I will briefly touch on the previous strategic plan that was created right before COVID, and we really were not able to address a lot of the priorities on there. I do think it was also a lot to bite off and chew. So we really just wanted to make sure that this new plan would be sustainable, that we could actually answer all of the priorities, that staff would be excited about it, and that we would also make sure that everything on here overlaps with other groups' goals that we really need to make sure we're answering to as well. So yeah, I'm open to your feedback, because whenever you guys do finally approve of it and vote on it, this is going to go on the library website. It's gonna be the new plan we answer to. And yeah, it's just really exciting.
Rick has a couple comments.
Okay.
Okay, this is just not a request, just kind of a discussion. Canby community, those two words going together is mentioned, I counted 11 times in the whole document. And I'm wondering whether there's any value to, again, the general public, the fellow that just bought the term, or that came into town, whatever, the first person that ever came to Canby. I'm going to the lowest common denominator. Is there any reason to somehow define what Canby community is? Because we know generically what it is, based on education, school districts, academic districts, farmers, whatever. We all have a definition of what we consider our community. I'm almost into Malino, so I'm like Malino, suburban Malino, 2 miles out of Malino, but I consider myself a Canby community person. Is there any way that, without being nitpicky, to define that, or should we leave it generic and all the documents that we're doing now and in the future, should it just be Canby community and you guys decide how you want to define it, the general public?
I mean, yeah, we can keep it, we can define it in there. One of the things that I think would probably answer that a little bit better would be saying Canby service area, but I absolutely hate how cold that sounds.
It sounds so impersonal.
It does. So I'm not, I get what you're saying, because our service area, people who use our library are sometimes in Malino and outside of Canby.
You use service area in the.
Yeah, it's in there when it needs to be.
Yeah, I don't think.
I prefer the generic loose term, you know, because you could define something too much, and I don't think that's the purpose of a strategic plan.
Yeah.
Well, Rick, the urban growth boundary is a big thing now, that you're gonna have people in the next 10 years that are in, that aren't in now, so
Exactly.
we are growing.
So it might have to be a fluid word, yeah.
I can define it though. I can say like it's everyone in the service area, and honestly, even people beyond that.
Because in one, I forget where it is, one other way you brought it to the attention, you did mention, I guess, with LDAC, with unincorporated, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what we're dealing with here
Yes.
locally.
Yes.
So it is mentioned, but not tied to Canby itself. It's mentioned as part of LDAC. That LDAC includes cities plus unincorporated areas.
I like that idea, Rick. I think I will maybe somewhere at the beginning.
Yeah. And you don't want to over-define it, you know,
Define,
just-
yeah, but just say like, it's not just people in the actual city limits.
Yeah,
of
because some
Kansas.
people, I'm just taxpayers in Canby. Well, no, it's not just taxpayers.
But you bring up such a good point, because one of the things I love about libraries is you can go to any library. If you find yourself in Lincoln City, you can walk into the library and use their resources. You probably can't check out a book, but you can certainly get in there, find what you're looking for, get your answers. I can understand that you're not paying the taxes to support that particular library, but there's something magical to me about libraries and the availability to people without boundaries. And I just think that what you're saying is really straightforward for me, and I am in the outlying area, but I also consider myself Canby, zip code, kids went to Canby, but people in the outlying areas might use the Malala Library, might use the Canby Library, might use the Oregon City Library, and it's one of the beauties of our whole system. You're not wrong.
So in strategic priority number 1, be engaged with those in the campus service area. Reestablish relationships and collaborate with Canby area schools. That make it a little bit more vague, rather than specific. Instead of saying Canby schools, Canby area schools, make it broader.
Yeah, I mean, these are all changes we can absolutely make.
I want to have a really enlightening comment, but I love that everybody's smiling.
If they weren't, I said, I'm gonna take another
Take
picture.
another. No, but it's a really nice.
No, I'm just kidding. These are all natural photos. I didn't tell anyone to do anything.
And I got one other, you wanna continue this, or I got one other comment?
Sure.
If you wanna just work on that for yourself, but anyway, the last page on the, city council goals and objectives and link. City council says 2024 to 2026, is that, whereas those other comments, I'm just looking at editing things. And the other areas are ours, and LDAC is, his link is 2024 to 2027. So I didn't know what the discrepancy was, why it'd be two different.
That's different.
Because the city council only made goals for 2 years, is that the idea?
They generally do it.
Okay, that's good, that's my question.
Yeah.
The mayor is a 2-year term.
2-year term. It coincides with that.
Yeah, so they might have similar goals in 2027, they might be a little bit different, and we can certainly address those at that
And
point.
one last nitpicky thing, when you're talking about education on the link side, is there any way to actually spell out libraries in Clackamas County, parentheses, link?
What page did you see it
The
first
last
on?
page.
The last page on link strategy and technical plan,
Okay,
is there a way to fit in, I'm not an acronym person, I hate acronyms. But is there any way to spell out libraries in Clackamas County in parentheses, link?
yes,
Good point.
absolutely can do that.
And that's, I'm done with my nitpicking for now.
I like nitpicking.
To be determined in the future, nitpicking, availability, I reserve my rights for nitpicking in the future.
Does anybody else have any comments on this for us? And you can also, if you think of something at 3 o'clock in the morning, you can send us an email.
Can you call?
No, you can send us an email.
I really like this picture right here. This one is just so cool.
That was the very last thing I did. I was like, you know what, I'm not done with this, I need to do something, and I did that, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, that was fun. It was actually really fun creating this document. It's the first time I've ever done it. I had a lot of good examples copied.
Yeah, it looks great, it's very focused.
Yeah, engaging, like.
It's really,
Good.
it's really, really good.
Did you mention that there's already a date for this to be presented to the?
Yes, October 23rd.
Thank you.
So we can either approve of this now and I will make those changes, or I can make those changes and then send it out and we approve it the week before we present it, which is also fine.
I'm happy with approving now, but what do other people want to do?
I trust Melissa to handle whatever we just discussed.
I will send you the actual, final, and I'll answer all those questions and make sure I spell everything out there. Those were good comments.
Okay, I make a motion to approve this with the changes discussed now. Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Oh, gosh, you guys have no idea how excited I am to hear
The
that.
next action item is the, I'm trying to look at the time here, the donation policy, that's just for me to follow up to get people on the how do I.
Yes.
So that's me. And so the liaison procedure, we need to have some dates set aside to do some interviews. So I'm hoping that, and I'm thinking with people's schedules, we're probably gonna end up doing late afternoons or Saturdays.
Okay.
If people, like,
I'm thoroughly retired, so.
so I know, I can do late afternoons and Saturdays, so can we block off some time on the 28th and the 5th?
A quick question, is there a deadline to get the application?
No, but I'm not going to let this go, you know.
Me too. Is there?
We put, just for the sake of trying to get them to respond, October 1st. We put that on our slide and at the club fair.
Good.
Just hoping to not leave it open-ended.
Thank you.
So we're talking about October 5th and.
The Saturday, the 5th and the 12th, people. And,
Wait, I'm confused. Didn't you just say the 28th?
Well, but she said that they changed the date to October 1st.
Okay, so you said October.
5th,
Mm. Got 2 soccer games to go to.
I wouldn't think you'd want too many people in the interview, though. You're gonna overwhelm them.
We're not all required to be there, right?
No, no, so it's really a matter of who feels very strongly that they need to
Volunteers.
be there.
Yeah, okay.
Volunteers?
Yeah, because we don't, I mean, that'll feel, that would be really
I will-
scary. That would be really
I
scary,
will
yeah.
pass the net and you
Yeah.
guys will sort through the cracks.
That would be, just walking into a panel. So,
Well,
Maybe 2.
it's a good dose of reality because most companies are doing panel interviews these days.
They
that's
are-
true, I do that.
I only do panel interviews, so.
When we did the teen
Make it a
intern
conversation.
interviews, yeah, there were
Be
4 of us, and they were all really nervous. But they did a really good job. Yeah, so who wants to be on that panel?
Volunteers.
Yeah, so basically, as soon as I get the applications, then I'll say, are you available the 5th or the 12th? We figure we have the interviews here in the library.
Okay.
So just put it on your calendar as a, you know, you might be
Yeah.
Jennifer's excuse, so she's done her time at the high school. Yeah. And it does,
I really hope we get some.
yeah. And we will all have copies of the application form, so, I mean, we saw what we got before, there was definitely a hierarchy of people that we would prefer to interview.
Good.
Yeah, so put it on your calendars,
Pencil it in.
and, as soon as I see something and I get something, I'll send it out, people can decide if they wanna do it or not. So that was really what I wanted to get done today, was that we have a plan, and then, if people have ideas for questions they would like to ask, and one of the things I've done with panel interviews, especially with people who are nervous, is I've given them the questions in advance,
Oh, yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a
So
test.
with the young women who had applied earlier, the freshmen, is all that you need is the parental
Yes,
permission?
yes.
Could you just, instead of making them fill out a new form, could you just tell them?
They can
parental permission?
Yes, I could do that.
I think that would be less off-putting.
I'd tell them that I have their copies of their,
I have their
and
application.
they would just get the parental permission.
Yeah.
Yes, I can do that.
Just need to see.
Okay, so I need to do that tomorrow.
So you'll be contacting us after October 1st.
Yes.
For the application.
And when we did this on Sunday, we still hadn't heard back, we still were, you know, so it felt a little bit, but I felt like I owed it to them to get it to them before Monday.
Yeah.
So,
There was a senior that had been interested, they might be looking for something to put on an application for college, that might not be a bad time filler also to, don't throw that one out is what I would say.
My concern is that it takes almost a year to get up to speed.
I agree.
I mean, I think that we all felt that when we joined the library.
I can find a sophomore, that'd be
Yes.
perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, the acronyms.
I'm still working on it.
Yes.
Well, at our first, like, several meetings, I sat here by Lois, what is it, what is it?
It's embarrassing, I didn't even know what link is, we can watch it on the computer.
Oh,
I'm using it.
Are there any other questions before we adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
A second.
Everybody in favor, say aye. What else is that?
I was choosing race.
I move that the adult